Raider Nation, I'm Mitchell Renz, host of the Raiders Report. And coming up on today's show, ESPN released a new 3-round mock draft. And today we're going to be reacting to all of the picks. The reason why that I wanted to do this one is because we a lot of times just focus on round one, and we also just focus on one person. So what I like that ESPN did was they had Mel Kiper Jr. and Field Yates predict every single pick for days 1 and 2. For the Raiders, that's pick 13, 44, and 77. So Kiper, he ended up getting pick 13 and 77. Yates got pick 44. For those of you that do not know, the NFL Draft is April 25th, and Jeremy Chuggs and I are going to be live for it, so make sure you subscribe. Make sure you got those notifications turned on. Before I tell you who the Raiders took at 13, let's walk through this mock draft here real quick. The only big notable move was the Minnesota Vikings trading up to pick 5 to select quarterback J.J. McCarthy out of Michigan. From pick 7 all the way down to 12, I did think it was interesting that many offensive linemen ended up going like right before the silver and black. Brock Bowers goes off the board. So like if the Raiders wanted to, they could have taken a QB in Michael Penix Jr. and a Bo Nix. They obviously did not, but it is something that I will throw out there. So make sure that you never miss anything around the Raiders because, guys, we are less than 10 days from the NFL Draft. Less than 10 days. Subscribe for Raiders draft coverage, live all 7 rounds. We just had a meeting today at Chat Sports talking about all the things that we got going on. If you have never, and I mean never watched what we do for the draft, it's the biggest event of the year here at Chat Sports, and I promise you're going to love it. Here we go, ESPN mock draft. Mel Kiper Jr. selected Quinyon Mitchell, cornerback from Toledo, to the silver and black. The 6-footer, 196-pound corner. This guy is everything that you're looking for in a true shutdown cornerback one. There's some people that think that he is the best corner in this year's draft. He might be. To me, if you pick between him or Terry and Arnold, that's where this pick needs to end up going. The reason why Kiper ended up going with Mitchell, thought this reasoning was kind of funny. He thought that the Bowers pick threw me off a bit. Field, and I have to leap up at the chance to get my top-ranked cornerback, Mitchell, has been off the charts during the pre-draft process, crushing the Senior Bowl and the Combine. Some of the notes that I have on Quinyon Mitchell is to me that he's built like a running back, tackles like a safety, can play corner. He was the best player at the Senior Bowl by far. He's got that outstanding burst, and if Antonio Pierce is legit, when he says, I want a cornerback one, you can put Mitchell on an island. He's your best corner right now. Like, if you draft Quinyon Mitchell, he's better than Nate Hobbs. You draft Quinyon Mitchell, he's better than Jack Jones. And, like, I'm not saying that as a knock on Hobbs. I'm not saying that as a knock on Jack. Like, that is just the God-honest truth, in my opinion here, where Mitchell would be your best corner on your roster. And if you have that ability to go Hobbs, Jack Jones, Quinyon Mitchell, Trevon Merrick, on top of that with Marcus Epps, and then that defensive line, this is the best defense in the NFL. And if you believe that defense wins championships, then Quinyon Mitchell at 13 here is a hell of a pick. So here's the one thing that I'm going to do on today's show. With all 3 of the picks that end up coming in, I'm going to ask you to grade each and every one. That way, when I go back and look in the comments, I understand what pick you're talking about. It would really help me out if you did like Mitchell and then put the grade. Because if you only put A, B, C, D, or F, I'm not going to know which pick you're talking about. So if you want to say pick 13, then grade. Mitchell, then the grade. I need to know what grade you're going to give it. For me personally, the grade that I'm going to give Quinyon Mitchell here is, I'm going to give this one an A grade. He's one of the top corners in this year's draft. Him and Terry and Arnold, to me, you could have that conversation back and forth. It fills a major need. And the way that this draft also kind of went is why I am very excited about this draft here for the silver and black. Coming up, who the Raiders drafted at pick 44. And this was a move that really was a player that we haven't talked too much about because he usually goes in round 1. At least some of the mocks that I've seen. He ends up going here to pick 44. I'll tell you who that is, but I got to give a shout out to today's sponsor, Mando. And Mando, I love this deodorant because to me, if I can use deodorant, and who sweats on their back? I do. I put this on my back sometimes. Their feet. My feet sweat all the time. They're pretty rank, and I'm kind of worried about the Chat Sports guys at our basketball game. They're going to be like, dude, your feet are nasty. But if anybody out there is like me, and I sweat, and you know what? I'm proud to say that I sweat a lot, but Mando has really stepped up the game. So what I want Raider Nation to do is control body odor anywhere with Mando and get $5 off your starter pack. That's over 40% off with promo code CHAT at shopmando.com. I love Mando because it's a whole body deodorant. Mando is seriously safe to use anywhere on your body. I'm going to be honest, I've put it literally everywhere. Pits, your package, your balls, your grundle, belly button, butt crack, stinky crevices, stomach folds, feet, wherever. Like, I have had smelly feet my entire life, from baseball, from playing sports, and it's probably the one thing that drives my fiance, Alex, the most insane. I've been doing feet baths. When Alex and I go get mani-pedis, the people look at my feet, and they look at it like I got trolls coming out. I mean, I got wicked feet. Mando, though, they help control that odor, and they give me, honestly, a little bit more confidence because I'm a pretty confident dude, but if there has ever been a time in my life where I haven't been confident, it's like you take your shoes off, and the thing that pops into my mind is if I'm on a flight, I am the guy that takes my shoes off, but I am always self-conscious that my feet stink. With Mando, luckily I don't got to worry about that. So I got a discount code to help you get hooked on my favorite smelling whole body deodorant on the market. New customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack. Use code CHAT at shopmando.com. If you don't know how to spell it, it's shopmando.com. It's time to smell better naked. Your partner is going to thank you. And on top of that, like, it is really, really solid deodorant. Like I said, I got the Invisible Cream one right here. The other one that I use every single day, and Chugs, he tried to give my deodorant away to our boss earlier today. I was like, no, like, I use that one. I would show you this one because this is the one that I personally have and the one that I use every day, but it's green, so it doesn't really fit on our green screen. Bottom line is, I've tried a bunch of these different deodorants. They smell great. You can use them all over your body, and if you put deodorant underneath your arms and you sweat on other places too, that's what makes Mando great. So again, that link's going to be available to y'all down in the comments and in the description of today's show. Shout out to Mando for sponsoring today's program. Let's go to round two, pick 44 here in our ESPN mock draft by Mel Kiper, Field Yates. With this pick, Yates ends up going on the interior. And I thought this was an interesting pick because we know that Telesco, we know that AP, they want to be able to build on the interior, whether that be in the trenches on defense, which they've already addressed a lot of those needs, but then also on the offensive side of the football, which you decided to go corner here. And if you're going to go corner at pick 13, I should also mention that Penix went off the board, I want to say, at 33, and Bo Nix went off the board at 38, so quarterback's really not really available. So this pick right here, Jackson Powers Johnson, the center for Oregon last season, I think it's a very intriguing move. I will admit, if the Raiders ended up taking him at 44, like, they already signed Andre James. Like, this is going to be a guard move. And if it was up to me, if you end up going this route here, a guy who played 13 games last season for the Ducks, 90.6 PFF grade, you're probably going to put him at right guard and you keep Dylan Parham at left guard or vice versa. But this would be your starting offensive guard, not Cody Whitehair, not Jordan Meredith. This is what that pick would be. Yates on why he decided to go this route. The Raiders must continue to chip away along the offensive line, and Powers Johnson has the flexibility to play at guard or center. He's a massive, powerful dude. Like, he is a massive, powerful dude, and he will fit Luke Getsy's offense well. He will fit that mindset that the Raiders want to have where at the end of the game, after you play 60 minutes of football against the Silver and Black, they want to know that you felt it. And Powers Johnson is definitely going to be one of those players that you could put up the middle. Like I said, you might be able to put him, I think he probably would play right guard because that's where he played before, and you just kick Dylan Parham back over to the left side. But, like, with this flexibility, with this versatility, the Raiders would have one of the better offensive lines in football. If you put Powers Johnson on this line, take out Cody Whitehair, it's one of the best offensive lines in the National Football League. So here's your opportunity again to grade the pick. Powers Johnson at pick 44, A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know what y'all are thinking because I think of center. Like, I'm going to be real. Like, I think of center. Before the Raiders re-sign Andre James, this was a dude that we talked about time and time again of, could this be somebody that the Raiders go out and get at center? The reason why I am personally going to give this a B+ grade is because, like the player a lot, really, really good dude. I made a video before saying that the Raiders shouldn't draft him in round 1 because they shouldn't draft him at pick 13. But at pick 44, the value's there. If you told me that Powers Johnson played guard this past season and you're able to get him at 44 based on what his tape shows, like, that's a good player. Like, he's a really good dude. But the fact that you're taking him to play a position that he did not play this past year does make me a little bit worried on a brand new offensive line like James Craig. However, Quinyon Mitchell, that's an A. Powers Johnson, that's a B+. So that means, here we go. Coming up, who the Raiders drafted at pick number 77. You went corner, you went interior offensive line, and I was wondering what they were going to do. The pick, I will admit, shocked me just a little bit. If you haven't already interacted with Chugs and I on social media, there's places that you can do it. Twitter, Instagram. I'm at MitchellRents365. Chugs is at Jeremy Chugs on Twitter, at Jeremy_Chugs on IG. And I would recommend keeping up with us on Twitter for more of the new stuff. Instagram's probably just to get into what we're doing on our daily lives. Like Chugs and I, for those that do not know, we got a basketball game tonight. If you want to know how that went, give me a follow on IG. Give Chugs a follow on IG as well. Let's go to round 3, pick 77 in this ESPN mock draft by Mel Yates. Chugs loves this mock draft from top to bottom. And when we were kind of building this show out from the beginning, he's like, dude, this is a really solid draft. And it's not that I don't love this last pick. I just wish it would have been something a little bit different. I'll be honest. However, it does fit with our other players at this position. So round 377, the Raiders go running back Jaylen Wright from Tennessee. I like Jaylen Wright a lot, and I've said this before. Like, if you were to tell me which running back probably pairs the best with the two backs that this organization already has, the answer is Jaylen Wright. I mean, somebody that averaged 7.4 yards per carry, where to me, Zamir's thunder. Madison, thunder. You need a little bit of lightning, and Jaylen Wright can offer you that lightning. Here's why Mel Kiper decided to go this route. Finally, another running back off the board. The Raiders lost Josh Jacobs, which means there are opportunities for touches in 2024. Wright averaged 7.4 yards per carry in 2023, which ranked 3rd in college football. According to those numbers, then again, like total touchdowns 4, I do think that he can catch the football better than what he was given the opportunity to. To me, that's probably a little bit more on scheme / Joe Milton overall. But if you're finding a back that's got that experience in the SEC, that just has speed that, quite frankly, like you really can't teach. And if you are looking for that just dynamic back in the backfield, because Zamir White's not going to be breaking any big runs. Alexander Madison, not going to be breaking any big runs. Yeah, Amir Abdullah has the athletic ability, but he's really just a 3rd down back. And if your plan is at the end of the season to move on from Madison, which they absolutely are going to do, and then you have a new running back in Zamir White and Jaylen Wright, and that's kind of your duo for the next 2 seasons, like it is an opportunity to at least think about, okay, this is why the Raiders did it. However, though, the reason why that this is not going to get a great grade from me is because it's based on need. Like, when you go back and you look at that mock draft, there's a lot of other picks that I thought that the Raiders could potentially do. Good player, but taking a back at pick 77 when there were some other positions that I would have rather them targeted, that's kind of where I'm feeling this type of way. So my grade here for Jaylen Wright at pick 77 is a C grade. It is a average move to me because it's based on the overall need. Like, there were tackles that I would have rather the Raiders gone out and get. There were linebackers that I would have rather the Raiders gone out and get. And when I saw the pick here, I started to sweat a little bit. Oh, the pick? I thought my pits, they don't. My pits smell great. The pick doesn't stink, but it's like, I don't love it. You know what I mean? I don't love it. I do love Mando. I don't love the Jaylen Wright pick, though. So I gave it a C grade overall. Just thought that if it was up to me, we could have gone a little bit of a different direction, like Jaylen Wright in round 3 or Ray Davis in round 4. I'll take Ray Davis in round 4 over Jaylen Wright in round 3. So here one more time are the picks that ended up going down. You had Quinyon Mitchell, then Jackson Powers Johnson, then Jaylen Wright at running back. So you got your number 1 corner, you got a starting offensive guard, and then a back that's going to compete for touches. So overall, how would you rate this? Like for me, I rated it an 85 overall score. I thought it was a good draft from top to bottom. I really did. And it's a weighted one because this is the best one. Like this to me is a 95. This to me is probably like an 88. The Jaylen Wright move's probably a little bit closer to a 75. When I weighed them all out together, let's go up with a number with 85. But I want to know from you, scale it from 1 to 100, how would you rate this here mock draft? If you made it this far in the show, remember, we're going to continue to pump out more Raiders draft content. We go live every single Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And anytime breaking news happens, we go live. And we're going to be live for the NFL draft. So if you enjoyed today's show, the next 10 days here leading up to the draft is going to be nothing, and I mean nothing But news, rumors, a lot of draft content. We're going to be doing our best here on the Raiders Report to keep you guys up to date and help us get to 168,000 subs. I would definitely appreciate it.